Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have a 2008 Toyota Camry in the shop and we are going to be replacing the serpentine belt. Now let me take you guys in and show you why we're going to be replacing this belt, and hopefully the video will be able to pick it up here. But as you guys can see right here, the belt is starting to shred. Now what I'm going to do is take this belt off. I'm going to check all my pulleys and then I'll be reinstalling a belt. So I have you guys set up here in the engine bay. Now the first step that you're going to want to do, if you look at this Toyota, you got to find the tensioner. Now the tensioner is right there, guys. You guys can see that pulley that I'm pointing at. And just here, if you guys look at this little bolt here, that's where you want to put your socket and your wrench to be able to take out the belt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab my 3/8 wrench and socket, and I'm going to get that on there, and I'll show you guys how to pull the belt off. Okay guys, so I got my ratchet here. Now you want to get the longest ratchet that you possibly have. I have this nice snap-on one. You're going to want to set it into the tightening position because the way you want to pull this is in the tightening position. Now it's going to be a little difficult here with my light in the way, but right there is where we're going to be attaching it to, if you guys can see that bolt. And you're going to want to put it on there now. She may fight you a little bit. I kind of jiggle it and wiggle it and make sure it's in there. And then try to get the maximum pull on it and pull down, and then you guys can see the belt will unslacken itself, and then you are able to get it off. Once you've released tension on the belt, now I just kind of have it hanging up here by the alternator. You want to make sure you see how the belt actually gets on there. They have different varying ways to route it. Now I know how the belt routing on this thing works. So once you know that your belt routing is copied down and you know how the belt's going to go on, just go ahead guys and take the belt off, and you can just take it off whatever means necessary. Normally I remove it off the alternator and kind of fish it out. It can be a little bit of a fight, and then I'll show you the next step once I get the belt off. Now, as you guys can see, I went ahead and I took my belt off. Now, I did this off camera, but I'm just going to show you here on this alternator pulley because it's the only one that's really visible to see. What you do after you take off the belt is you want to grab your pulleys, every single one of them, except for the crank, because that one's not really going to move or spin because the engine is stopped. And if it's spinning with the engine off, you got a broken crank. So you definitely have a bigger problem than your belt at that point. But what you do here is you're going to take a pulley. Now this could be a water pump pulley, a idler pulley, a compressor pulley, whatever it may be. So in this purpose, just for demonstrations, we're using the alternator. You're going to want to spin it, and after you spin it, you want to get a good spin on it, and you want to listen in to make sure that there's no sound as you spin it. You're looking for anything like screeching or grinding, anything of that sort. Then what you're going to do is grab the pulley and you're going to basically yank on it in and out and see if you have any shaft play, and go ahead and do that. And as you guys can see, there's no movement on this one. And even when we spin it, I'll be quiet here for a second and give it a spin. You guys can hear that everything is good. I don't know how well the camera will pick that up, but there's no noise. Now I did this to every single pulley. Typically the idlers are where you'll have most of these issues at. So you always want to make sure you check your idlers and your tensioner pulleys. Those seem to wear out more. Now this tensioner has really good tension as far as the belt goes, and the actual pulleys on there are nice and tight. They don't make any noise and everything is good on it. So we don't need to do anything else at this point. We're just going to go ahead and do the belt. Now, if you do have a pulley that's bad, you may want to remedy whatever's going on. Like if, let's say, the tensioner pulley was bad on this one, I'd probably want to order a tensioner and replace it before I put my new belt on. If you say, oh, I'm just going to put the belt on and then replace it later, you'll probably be replacing the belt again, because if that thing is wobbling, it'll damage the new belt or cause some sort of damage to the new belt. So if you plan on doing this, do it all in one shot, guys. Don't do it half and half where, oh, I got to put the belt on and then, I'll do it later, because you're going to be redoing everything again. Okay guys, so we went ahead and we got our belt off. Now the reason why we're replacing this belt, and you guys can see it more clearly, is you notice that it is wearing on the sides here. This belt isn't necessarily cracked or bad shape as far as the ribs go, but seeing that, I don't want this belt to start shredding on the customer, so I went ahead and recommended they replace it. Now what you want to do is keep your old belt even when you get your new belt, and I'll show you why. So your typical belt will come in a pack like this. You just pull off the little cover and here's your new belt. Now a little trick that I like to do just to make sure that we have the correct belt, because sometimes they could look like they are similar but they're not, and I always make it a habit of checking parts. You'll actually see a video that I'll be posting, I don't know if it'll be before or after this video, of an alternator that looked exactly the same but was the wrong alternator for a Chevy that I was working on. So what you do is take your new belt, loop it on your finger, the first, right here, you put it on first, and do the same thing on the other side. And then you take your old belt and you loop it. Now I gotta move back here, guys, just so you guys can kind of see this in the framework. And what you want to do is put the two like that and then stretch it out. And no belt should have more openness to it. Now, your old belt may feel like it's just a tiny bit bigger because it is stretched out from all the time that it's been on your engine. But for the most part, you shouldn't really see anything too major. Like this one lines up pretty much right there. It's stretched out so you guys can see it's even there. And I have it pretty even on this side. And that's what you want to do just to test your belt out to make sure that you got the appropriate belt. Once you've done that, you're going to want to take this to the engine and we're going to go ahead and throw it on the car. Now we are on the car and we are getting ready to put our new belt on. This is a very tight space, guys. There's no way for me to possibly show you what I'm doing here because my hands and my head and everything are going to be kind of in the way doing this. So you're not going to be able to see. The best advice I could give you on this is just do the best job possible to get in there and route the belt correctly and just get everything put in place. They do make some tools that'll help with this. Now, I'll kind of show you one here. The camera zoomed in, so I may not pick it up all, but I have this very long tool that has this on, and let me just keep scrolling it by here. As you guys can see, it's very long. What this does is it'll basically loop into your belt like this, and it'll help push it down inside your engine bay. So let's say I want to push it down here, you can get in there and push it all the way down. It'll help kind of put it on pulleys and things of that nature. It's definitely helpful. Now, if you're only doing this job once or twice, I don't know, you should still probably get it. These things are fairly cheap, but if you don't have the tool, just get in there the best way that you can. Sometimes you'll have to get up underneath the car and loop it around the crankshaft and the bottom pulleys and then come up top and kind of go back and forth. Whether you have this tool or not, you still may have to do that sometimes. This tool just helps in a quick setting. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and do that, and we're going to see how long it takes me, and when I have it done, I'll be back and I'll show you guys. Okay, guys, so I kind of time lapsed of me putting it on there. Now, the way I put the belt on was I actually went underneath after I'd fished it through with my tool, and I kind of put it on the crank pulley and on the compressor and fed it on the idler pulley. Then I went ahead and I put it on my power steering pump. That's more towards the back on this engine. You'll notice it. You can actually reach it through up here and get yourself a little bit of better access to it. Once you loop it on there, you just basically bring it straight out to the alternator around the idler pulley and it's basically in place. Now, it's kind of difficult to get in here. I had a wrench that's really long and made it easier. If you guys don't have any room to get to the tensioner, you could always remove this motor mount here. It's called like a torque mount. There's one bolt here, and then the one for the actual mount on the body. This just helps the engine from rocking back and forth. You can take this off and you'll get yourself a lot of room in there, so you can kind of go straight from the top with a wrench if you're going to be, pulling on the tensioner. That's the easiest way if you're doing this at home with minimal tools. Now that I got the belt already put on here, what I'm going to do is go ahead and start the car up, let it run for a minute or two. I'm going to listen for any noises or anything. Then I'm going to cut it off, come back, and just make sure my belt is still sitting in the correct places. Sometimes if you don't get the belt lined up perfectly, it will move on you. Now, I checked everything. I'm very confident everything is good to go on this, but I'm still going to do my safety checks just to make sure I did a proper install. And after you've done that, you are pretty much set and the car is ready to go. And that is how you do a belt on a Toyota 2.4 liter engine. Now, this one wasn't in depth, guys, because I can't really get you in there and show you every little thing, but hopefully this helps as a general guide. So please comment, like, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. It definitely helps my channel grow. I just want to thank you guys. You guys have been amazing. I'm loving the input that I get from you guys in the comment section and everything. So thank you for that, guys. I wouldn't be here without you. With that said, hope you guys have a great day, and I will catch you guys on the next video.